Hey guys, it's Jess, and I am going to teach you guys how to make this beautiful piece of artwork with a very minimum amount of supplies, and we're going to do this bad boy in under an hour, if you can believe it. I really love this technique. It's great if I'm bored, but I don't have a ton of time, or I need something to do, but I'm still kind of searching for ideas. If I have like painter's block, I'll do something similar to this with the same kind of techniques and stuff that we're going to do in this, so that I can at least get something out, get my creative juices flowing. And I'm doing this video because I'm actually teaching this painting for BreatheCon this year. If you don't know, BreatheCon is an annual online conference hosted by the CF Foundation. It's for adults with cystic fibrosis. It's a really great time, and I was truly honored this year to be asked to be part of the planning group that is helping put this all together. So BreatheCon is all planned and organized by people with CF for people with CF. And I am doing this lesson live, but I also wanted to do a video just in case there were people who were really interested in doing this, but maybe the workshop filled up and you couldn't get in, or on the day of, last minute something happened and you couldn't attend, or you heard about it after the fact and still wanted to do it. Whatever the case may be, this all is happening because of BreatheCon, for BreatheCon, and beyond. So I really hope to see you guys there, but if I didn't, I hope that you guys really enjoy creating this beautiful little piece of artwork with me. Have fun! Okay guys, first I'm just going to start off just telling you what you need to do this project, and then we'll get rolling. So you're going to need a canvas. This is an 11 by 14, but you can use really any size that you want. But this is like just kind of a good size. It's not too small, but it's not giant either. So I like this size, use it a lot. You are obviously going to need some paint. You're going to need black, white, and then a bright shade of whatever your favorite color happens to be, or just whatever color you're feeling like. Today, I'm going to use this peacock blue color. Then you are going to need a wide flat brush. This is about an inch wide, and you can see looking at it this way that it's pretty flat. And then you're going to need a round brush, about the thickness of a pencil or so. This is a number 9. This will work great. If you were doing like a much bigger canvas, you'd want bigger brushes, just because it would go a lot faster and make things a lot easier. Then you're going to need just a few Q-tips, not a ton. You're gonna need something to put your paint out on. You can get like official little paint palettes from a craft store, or I just like to use paper plates. Because once acrylic paint dries, it's on there forever. So if you paint a lot, you can really go through a lot of those little palettes. Then you're going to need some kind of cup or jar with water in it that you don't mind getting grungy. This is my water jar that I use for everything. A solo cup works just fine. You are going to need some... Oops, I just dropped my paper towel holder on the floor. But you're going to need some paper towels just to dab off your brushes with excess water, or if you get paint on yourself or whatever. I would also suggest wearing something that you don't mind getting paint on, because that is definitely a risk that could happen. You could just like have an apron on, or just an old shirt that you don't really care about. You don't need to have an easel. You can definitely do this on a flat surface. So if you're doing that, lay out something just to protect your surface from getting paint on it, like newspaper, or like a old plastic tablecloth that you don't care about, that you can get for like birthday parties for temporary use. I'm just going to be using my easel for the sake of ease, so that I don't have to film from the top down for you guys. So that does it for supplies. A lot of this stuff is stuff that you might even already have laying around the house. And so let's go ahead and get started on our painting, shall we? Okay, so I've got my paint out on my paper plate, and the first thing I'm going to do is mix up like a medium gray with my black and white. Nothing too dark. I would say not like a charcoal gray, but not super pale either. Just whatever looks good, nice medium gray. So I'm mixing that with my wide brush. So this is what I've got. And from about a third of the way up my canvas, I'm just gonna roughly draw a line across. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm just gonna start doing streaks across my canvas with my gray color. And you don't have to worry about having perfect coverage. We're actually going for streaky. So that's incredibly easy to manage. If you want to go around and paint the sides of your canvas, you definitely can. I'm only going to go a little bit over. I'm not going to do all the way just for the sake of time in this video. So again, not looking for perfect coverage. That looks just fine to me right there. And now, without even washing my brush out, I'm just going to take some white and I'm going to start doing some streaks of white. Again, not perfect. It doesn't need to blend perfectly. Just looking to make some interest. That looks good to me. And then if you want to, definitely don't have to, you can do a slightly darker gray. Just add a little bit of black into whatever you have left on your palette or your paper plate. And just do a few streaks of that, just here and there, whatever looks good to you. And that's it. And now I'm gonna do like a charcoal gray for the bottom. So mostly black, tiny bit of white. A lot of black in there. I don't want super dark, but I want it to be quite a bit darker than our sky here. So this is what I have. And I'm going to go through, and this I do want full coverage. I don't want any canvas showing through on this. Your line across, again, doesn't need to be perfect. Just make sure you go right up all the way to your sky. Go all the way to the bottom. Again, you can go all the way around the sides of your canvas if you want to. If you're planning on getting this framed, I wouldn't even bother because you're not going to see this. You're not going to see the edges. Great. And it's also okay if this is a little bit streaky, but I don't want any white from the canvas showing through. No big chunks of white. So just full coverage on there. Excuse me. So now I'm just gonna take this and just stick it in my jar of water so it doesn't dry out on me. If at any time you're going through this process, and this will especially happen on a really big canvas, because acrylic paint dries really fast. So if at any point you're going along here and you start to feel like your paint is drying and it's getting hard to work with, what you can do is just really quick dunk your brush into the water, kind of tap off the excess, and then keep going just to re-moisten that paint a little bit. And I find personally that works better than adding more paint, because then it can start to kind of get like almost a peanut buttery feel. Like it just gets even thicker, I find, as it dries. So if, like I said, on this size canvas shouldn't be a problem because this is so fast and easy to do. But on a really big piece, you might have that problem. So now we're gonna start in on our tree. So we're gonna take our round brush and dip it in the black and get a pretty decent amount of paint on there. And this can totally be whatever you want it to be. So just gonna start off with a trunk shape, and I'm at an awkward angle because I'm doing this from the side. So this may turn out to not necessarily be what I would normally do. And as I'm going along, just kind of getting excess paint off my brush there. And just make some branches. Again, just like whatever feels good to you. I'm just kind of mostly worried about getting the basic shape laid in right now. So another branch up this way. And I got a little bulge here that looks funny to me, so I'm just going to bring this down like so. Up. And you don't have to do tons and tons of branches like you would normally see on a tree, just because a lot of it's going to be covered up by the leaves or flowers or whatever you want to call it that we're doing. But you do want some of it's going to show through. But again, there's no wrong way to do this. It's whatever looks good to you, whatever you feel like. And you could take this whole idea and definitely do more like realistic nature colors. You could do blue sky, green grass. I'm gonna start to kind of do some rooty looking things down here. As I was saying, you could do blue sky, green grass, green leaves, or you could do autumn colors for the leaves, orange, yellow, red. Would look really awesome with this technique. Whatever you feel like. Which is the great thing about art, I think, is if you love it and you say it's art, then it's art. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's all you. This comes from you. So as long as you are happy with it, man, it's art. Just gonna do some more branches. Again, most of this is gonna be covered up, but I don't want to end up like getting my leafy, flowery things on here and then being like, ah, I wish I had done more branches. So you can always do lots of branches, and then if you feel like you did too much, just cover them up with your leaves and stuff. So I think I like my basic shape that I've got going on here. Now my paint at the bottom is still pretty wet, so I'm not able to get this to be completely black like I really want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this for about 10-15 minutes, and I'm going to come back to it, and then I'm going to really go over the tree again to make it a full, like, opaque black. If you wanted to speed up that process, you could put a fan up against it, put it in a warm room, put it outside in the sun, and it would dry really quick within just a few minutes. But I'm just gonna go grab a snack right now, I think, and once I'm done with that, I'm gonna come back and we'll get on to the next step. And we're back. So it's been about 10 minutes. I can touch this and it's dry, at least dry enough. And I had my brush sitting in my water so it wouldn't dry out. So I just took it out, and I want to get the excess water out of it. You don't have to necessarily get all the paint out because we're just going right back into black, but I just want the excess water out so it doesn't thin out my paint. And going right back into that black, and I'm just going over my tree again, exactly how I did before, because I want it to be really like full coverage. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to fast forward through this part because that's about all the explanation you need. Just go right back over this baby. Perfect. So we just went right back over that, made it really full coverage, dark black, and now we're going to go through and do some highlights to make it look like he has bark. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip my brush into my white, which you can't really see because it's on a white paper plate, but I'm going to dip it, but I don't want tons and tons of paint on there because I don't want it super bright. So I'm just going to dunk it in there, but then I'm going to dab off the excess onto a clean part of the plate. So I end up with something like this. And I didn't even take the black out of my brush earlier because I just want this to be kind of streaky. And just randomly kind of follow along. You can always add more paint if it starts to get light. Just, oops, that one's, see that, I don't like that, it's too wide. I'll go back and I'll fix it in a second. Just go along some of these branches. Just give it some highlights, make it look like it has bark. If you get some that are a little too bright, just go back over them. This one, I'm going to kind of blend it out a little bit, but I'm going to go back over it with black. And just keep going like that. till you're happy. And again, like most of these, pretty subtle. The ones that are super bright that I'm like, wish that was a little more gray. I'm just gonna blend them in. Now this guy here, I'm gonna wipe most of the paint off of my brush onto my plate. And I'm gonna go back in with black. Not still too much gray for me, so I'm actually gonna wash out my brush so I get all the white out of it. Go back into my black, start to cover it up. And I might have to wait till this dries a little bit more before I can really get the result I'm looking for. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wait. Actually, that looks pretty good like that. I am gonna add just a teeny bit of white in there, just to make it look like a nice highlight. And I just had the biggest deja vu. That was crazy. So I like my highlights, really happy with those. And I'm gonna put my brush into my water so it doesn't dry out. And now we're gonna move on to Q-tips. And I like to take a bunch of like three, four, whatever. And I'm gonna just hold them in a little bunch, little group. Doesn't really matter which own way. And I'm gonna dip them into my blue, and then I'm going to tap off the excess onto a clean part of my paper plate. And then I'm just gonna start going in here and dabbing on as they start to dry out. Dip them back into my paint. And as I'm going, I'm turning my hand so they're not all going the same way. And as you go, the Q-tips are gonna swell up because they're gonna be wet from the paint. And you're gonna get some bigger dots, which helps actually make it look a little more organic. And so I'm just gonna go in. You can go over the trunk too, because remember, branches aren't just spreading out to the left and right. In a real tree, you'd also have branches coming toward you. So you'd have branches at the same level all the way around your tree, which means you'd have your little leaves or flowers or whatever you want to call them over your trunk as well. And you can come down where you don't have any branches. Because remember, we didn't do like tons and tons of branches. We didn't do the little tiny, little twiggy size branches. We just did the big ones. So I'm gonna fast forward through this again until I'm happy. Just move this little clamp that's on my easel so I can get all the way up to the top. Get all over with this. So I'm going to fast forward again through this until we get to the next step. coverage here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my small brush, clean it out. I don't want any black in there. Squeeze out the excess water, and now I'm going to take some of my blue and I'm going to add some white to it to get a lighter shade. Not super pale, we're not going for pastel, but noticeably lighter than just like raw out of the bottle blue. And once I'm happy with that, got like that color, put my brush back in the water so it doesn't dry up. And same Q-tips, or you can use new ones if you want, but I'm just gonna go with the same ones. Dunk those into your lighter color and tap off the excess, and then go right back to what we were doing with our new lighter color blue. Okay, so I'm happy with my mid-tone blue Q-tip work now. And notice I didn't cover up all of what I originally did. I just added to it. And there's actually less of the lighter color because I still want that straight out of the bottle vivid color to be coming through. Because that is going to be the shadows. It adds depth. It adds a dimension of it being looking more organic. Like something that could actually occur in real life. So now I'm going to mix up some really pale blue, like pastel. So a little bit of blue and tons of white is what we're going for. And I'm actually almost out of white, so I'm just gonna grab a little more. A little bit of blue, tons of white. So I end up with this. It's pretty much like a sky blue that I've got. And again, same Q-tips or new ones if you want, doesn't matter. I'm gonna go in there and add another layer. Again, oh, focus, there we go. Again, even less of my really super pale pastel blue than I did of the mid-tone, because this is your highlights. Your raw, straight out of the bottle blue is going to be kind of your shadows, and then you've got your mid-tone somewhere in between. So again, even fewer dots of my super pale blue. And then if you want to, you can do just a teeny bit of straight white to really make it pop. You don't want a lot of this, very sporadic. And if I get some spots that I'm like, whoa, that's really, really bright white, I'm dabbing them repeatedly to help kind of break that up and make it so it's not so like, whoa, in your face. And if you have some spots where you're like, I wish there was some more of my darker color there, go back in with your darker color and then add some more shadows. But then also go back over that same area a little bit with your other shades, just so you don't end up with one spot that's like way dark. So I'm happy with that. I've got, and you can still see parts of the branches coming through, just like you would on a real tree. You would still see branches and stuff. Now, if you wanted to also, you could come down and make it look like some of your little things falling off your tree. You can put some down on the ground. Just a few here and there, whatever. Again, you want to make sure you're using every single one of your colors though, because you don't want anything to be one-dimensional. Got our mid-tone, going with that. Our pastel. Sorry for all the coughing. Today I'm on IV antibiotics, so my lungs are clearing out. There we go. I think that looks really cool with some of them falling down on the ground. Looks much more organic, I think. And I'm pretty happy with this as it is right here. But definitely you do you. If you wanted to do like a little shrub over here, you could definitely do that using the same techniques kind of we did with the tree, only on a smaller scale. Again, you could do this with like more actual earth looking colors if you didn't want like an alien world. You could definitely do a blue sky, green grass, red or brown tree bark, and then you could do green. If you wanted to do like a cherry tree, you could do pink flowers. That would look really pretty. But I just wanted to basically show you this technique, and I wanted you guys to be able to start off with just a few colors, and not having to make like a super big investment if you decided this just isn't for you and you're not going to use it again. Then I didn't want you to, okay. I didn't want you to have to spend a lot of money for something that maybe you didn't feel was your thing. But this technique is super fun, super easy. You can bang out a quick painting. It's good for just about any age group, like slightly older kids, maybe 6, 7 and up could definitely do something like this. I would just definitely cover your surfaces very well because they're going to make a mess. And then the last thing we are going to do is we're going to sign our work. You definitely don't have to, but I always sign my paintings. You could sign it on the back, but the back of the canvas isn't primed or anything, so it's still kind of like fuzzy. So you end up having to use like a lot of paint to do that. If you have a tiny brush, I would recommend signing with that. But if this is all you have, I'm going to show you how to sign a painting with just this. And you could use any of the colors that you have. You could use white, black, blue, whatever. I'm going to just go ahead and use the blue, and I'm going to get a decent amount of water in my brush, and I want to really water down my blue really thin. Trying to think what I could compare it to as far as how thin I'm going. If you know what fountain pen ink is like that thin, very, 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 not as thin as like a watercolor paint, but very, very thin. And then I'm just gonna like kind of wipe off the excess onto my plate. And then I'm just gonna dab back into it with just the tip of my brush. So the tip of my brush is pretty saturated with paint. And normally I lay my paintings down flat to sign them because it's just easier, but I'm going to do it here so you guys can see. I'm just going to adjust it just a little bit, move it up to the front of my easel to make it easier. And you're just going to use the very tip of your brush to sign. And it's such a strange angle. It's going to be a terrible signature, but whatever. So I'm using just the very tip, and I'm going to go back into my paint pretty frequently so it doesn't run out. Just the tip. And then I'm going to put 2018 on here, and I'll pick it up here so you can kind of see my signature. Which actually, considering the angle that I was at and the size of that brush, is not a bad signature. Focus. Okay, it's not really wanting to focus that well, but it's just my name in 2018. So that's it. I hope you guys had a good time doing this. I hope you, if you enjoyed it, you expand on it, see what else you're capable of doing. Definitely search YouTube for, painting tutorials. There's tons of them out there. And just have fun with it. I hope you had a good time. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me if there's something else you want to see. And just, yeah. I really hope you had a good time. I totally did this video for you guys. And I definitely will answer questions if you have any down below, like just whatever. Tell me what you thought. Tell me what you want. And I hope you guys are feeling a little bit inspired to maybe create some 100% original you artwork. See you later. Bye.